Well, hey guys, welcome back to the bench. This is going to be part 2 of the reimagined Battlestar Galactica build. I'm going to apologize in advance if this video goes on too long. There's a lot of stuff I want to show because I've actually made a lot of progress since the first video. I had planned on stopping and doing a video before getting this far into the kit build and everything, but I kind of got carried away and realized, oh shoot, I've got to make a video. So my apologies for that. Let's start off with the flight pods, or part of the flight pods anyway. They're both identical on the lighting. So my biggest issue was trying to figure out a way to light these things where it would not be too over the top and not blowing out with bright light. I wanted to try to keep it in scale. So after a couple of iterations of trying different things, I came up with a very simple 3 sections of 3 strip LED white, and to tone down, because if these aren't toned down, they will blow out the light on the inside of the pods. I've already tried it and it's really bright. To minimize that, I tagged them so I know what I'm doing with resistors. I'm going to be attaching a 430 ohm resistor to these lights, and that pretty much brings the light down to a level that I think is more in scale. Now, it's not 100% accurate as far as the amount of light that I'm getting, because at the moment these are painted black for light, or for light blocking. So black absorbs light, so I'm not getting the full 100% final look with the lighting, because my plan is to just spray the base coat all over the whole thing, lights, wires, everything, and then I'm going to come along after it's dried with a little cotton bud. I'm just going to wipe the surface, the surfaces of the LED strip tape to reveal the lights. Now, my goal by doing this is to make it look like it's part of the detail. There's not a lot of room in here. These are really tiny, so I don't have a lot of room to put a cover over these to cover the wires and the lights. I mean, I could probably throw in a very thin piece of clear frosted plastic, but in all best honesty, I don't think that would look very good, to be honest. It's just not a lot of room in here to do this. So the plan is to spray the whole thing with the base color and just basically have it to where all this detail and the wires start taking the shape of some ceiling detail work, and maybe tubes or piping instead of wires. That's the plan. Also, at that point, I'll be able to gauge the light brightness a little better, because it'll have a brighter surface to reflect off of. So if it is too bright at that point, not a problem. I can just change out the resistor from a 430 ohm to a 470 ohm, and that should compensate for the lighter paint on the inside. And I think, in all best honesty, these are very tiny, so if you're going to be looking in, you know, like so, you're really not going to see a lot, to be honest, at that point. So I'm not too super worried about it. But anyway, that's the plan for the flight pods. I may entertain the idea of trying to put maybe a clear plastic cover over these. I don't know. I'll have to actually try it and see how much room it gives me and how it looks. But that's not off the bench yet. I mean, I may try working on that later. So those are the flight pods. They're pretty much done. The Battlehead, part of the Battlehead anyway, and I call it the Battlehead. I'm not sure if that's what they call it in the show. But it's the front of the ship. I went ahead and I got the lower section just put in friction fit at the moment. All the holes are drilled for the windows all the way around. And for lighting, I just simply did a 3-strip or LED strip of 3, and I glued it inside, and that gives me more than enough light to light this whole section up. And then I drilled a hole right in between the 2 guide holes for the wiring to pass through, which is a corresponding hole in the back of the back wall here to go into the ship itself. So I went ahead and drilled out everything to accommodate wiring at this point. The struts too are drilled out to accept wiring. I'll go ahead and light this up for you real fast so you can see what it looks like. I think it turned out pretty good. It is bright, but that's fine. It will be toned down a little bit when I put the microcrystal clear in the windows, as it always does. I may put a resistor on this just to make it go a little lower. I don't know. I'm still thinking about that one. But there's the windows. I think that came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that one. So that's that. Last 2 things I want to go over with is the engines. I'll show you what I've done with the engines. So the lower engine, very basic. I just simply took a flickering blue LED with a 470 ohm resistor, laid it inside just in front of the one peg right here, and that lines it up perfectly dead center. So that's good. That turned out excellent. This one on the other hand though was a little bit different. I actually had to cut a piece of square styrene stock and I glue it to the LED, and then I stuck it right down here in this corner, right where the 2 sides meet. And that gave me the clearance I needed to put it to center the light, because before I stuck it in there, it wasn't centered. It was actually laying too far down, and it didn't look right. So this way it's actually centered down. So did that. The last thing is kind of a oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I forgot the main hull. So this is where I kind of got ahead of myself, and I should have videoed this before I put those all together. So I got the 2 alcoves in where the flight pods retract into on the ship, as well as the blue light for the rear engines. Now on these alcoves, I'm not sure if I'm saying the right name for these or not, but they're alcoves to me. In the show, even though I know it's a CGI ship, but in the show there was a clear, it's clearly lit up red. I can't find my words tonight, I'm sorry. There's clear red lights on the inside of this alcove. The whole thing's not lit up red, but you can see points of light coming down. They're not really overly bright, but they are lighting up these alcoves on both sides. And that's what I did. So pretty easy to do. I simply drilled out 3 3mm holes. I took 3 red 3mm LEDs, and I ground out the top, made them flat, and I put them in the holes, and I just made them they were flush with the inside of the plastic on both sides. Gave them resistors, wired them up, and I will show you the effect. Now it's gonna be blown out on the camera, so you're going to see a very bright light, and that's not the case in reality. It's actually very subdued, and it looks, I would probably say, pretty spot on to what I saw the CGI ship. Alright, and do this without shredding anything out. Yeah, so it's very bright, and that's totally not what it looks like. So I'm showing you this, and it's not a fair representation of this, but they work, and the effect I got is what the effect I was looking for, so that's what counts. So this is pretty much done and ready to be put the engines on and maybe seal it up. 10 minutes in, not too bad. So the last thing this is my gripe. So Mobius, if you're listening, it's an idea. So there is a main engine to the ship in the center, and it's very well detailed. Looks really awesome. Especially after I painted it, it really showed all the detail. My gripe with this is this whole thing is one piece, and it's clear. The whole thing, completely clear. And as everybody knows, if you watch the show, there's framework around all these engines. And I end up having to use my my liquid mascol to cover the engines up where the blue's going to shine through, and then I have to airbrush black primer on this and then the base coat so I can get the effect that I want, which is the framework around the engines. Now, my suggestion to this, and this is where Mobius, I hope you're listening, is instead of molding this whole piece in clear, make it a two-part piece. Mold the framework in the same color as the plastic for the model, and then have a clear backing that goes into these engines. That's what I think they should have done. I think it would have been a lot easier than having to mask it off and paint it. You know, I'm just saying. But that's one of my other gripes to add to the short list to this model. I mean, I don't have a lot of gripes about this kit. It's a very good kit. It goes together really easily. The seam work is very, very minimal. And it is a very well detailed ship. So I have high praise for it on that one. I just think that this should have been a two-part piece instead of a clear plastic. But that's, you know, every model has a downfall to it at some point in time. No model's perfect. But that's where I'm at, guys. Again, I'm sorry that I did not actually film more of what I was doing. I just kind of shot ahead of myself and realized, like, oh, I got to do a video on this. But there's still a lot more to come with this. I still, to get all these pieces put together, I have to do the wire management next step. That's basically getting all these wires drawn into the main hull. And then, you know, arranged. I will have to have wires coming out from the main body to attach to the flight pods, and one coming out the front here to attach to the head of the ship. So, but no big deal. That's easy to do. And the last thing I did do was I went ahead and I got this drilled out here to accept wires. I can't use the stock stand that comes with this kit because it's a solid rod, and I need a tube. So I think I have some tubes in my collection over here. I should be able to find one to fit this this hole here. So I hope, anyway. But that's where I'm at. That's what's going on, and yeah. So I will come back when I have some more progress. My next plan is to get these finish getting these alcoves in and sealed or glued, getting the engines put together and attached to their respective halves. Then at that point I'll be working on getting some of the wiring splayed out from the sides so I can attach the flight pods to them. I'm gonna have to paint this in two sections. If I put the whole thing together and try to paint it, I'm gonna have an issue with that. So what I'm gonna have to do is get the seam lines in this section here sealed off, and then paint this section and then paint the flight pod separately and then attach them onto it. Otherwise I won't have enough room to get in there and airbrush. So it'll have to be painted in stages, but no big deal. So yeah, that's about it. It's 15 minutes in the video. I don't want to bore you guys, so I'm going to call it quits here. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank all my subscribers as well as my new subscribers. Glad to have you aboard, and I hope you are enjoying these videos. If you are, give me a thumbs up and a like. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to see more videos, hit that subscribe button. I do have more builds coming out after this one. I do a combination of a Star Trek, BSG, or just anything sci-fi. So I don't know what my next build's going to be, but hopefully it'll be interesting. So, alright, again, thank you everyone for watching, and until next time, have a safe and wonderful rest of your week. And happy modeling, everybody. I'll see you later.